Hi everyone, welcome back to our Joseki series. I'm Ryan and today I will bring you more josekis for 3 to 4 dan players. Let us start with the start point again, but this time we will consider sometimes when white approaches, black does not respond. And in this case, we have the double approach situation. And before we talked about that when black plays the kosumi here and white invades 3-3, this is a locally bad result for black, even though black can get sente. And then there's a follow-up. So it's actually more common for black to attach on either side. So which side do you think we should attach? So generally we want to attach where the stone is the stronger stone. So if in a case where white has already a stone on one side while black has a stone on the other side, then we generally want to attach on the side where white has the backup there. And after black attaches, white would hane, and then black extends. Now, when white invades the 3-3, that's also a possible variation. However, it's generally considered a bad result for black, because when white pulls back and black captures the stone, locally black shape is very strong, and these two stones for white are pretty much not very useful anymore. And also, this pincer is also very crucial for this shape, because later, if white cannot tanuki now, because after this pincer, black could peep here and extend back, and this would be very difficult to deal with for white. So generally white would have to respond either here or here. So it's not very common for white to choose this variation unless it's very special for the circumstances. And the more common ways to respond, this is probably seen a lot. And in this case, black would block here. And keep in mind that white cannot push now. And actually pushing is a little bit of a trick move. And the correct response for black is just to extend, because even if white could push through, white is actually at more of a loss. Even though it looks like black's lost 2 stones while white has lost 1, you can keep in mind that black has so much more territory than white. And this influence is not as good, because later, if black has a stone here, these 2 stones could still serve a purpose on that side. So make sure, as black, do not block when your opponent pushes there. That's very important to note. And the correct move for white is actually to play this kosumi, and then black responds here, and white hanes, black plays here, and white connects. And now black blocks, and white jumps. And then after black plays the kosumi again to go towards the center, then white would fix here. And the important thing here is that white does not exchange this atari because of a corner weakness. So without this atari, later white could clamp here, and if black descends or hanes, then this is sente, and actually white could connect back. So black has to avoid that from happening. So usually it's common for black to finish here with the hane. So white doesn't want to block, because blocking would be gote, and the previous variation wouldn't work for white anymore. So this is sort of like an end result for this very big variation there. So in the double approach, we also have another very useful variation to know. So when black attaches and extends, white could attach here. And I've seen in a lot of games that black wedges. And after the wedge, white plays a double tiger's mouth, black ataris, and then white connects. But keep in mind that this variation is very bad for black, because actually this group is very settled. Black still has a weakness here, and this is not very thick. So in generally we don't want to have this happen, even if there are stones here, and it looks like you can get a big territory, but actually white is in a much better result in this case. So wedging is almost not a good variation now. Now one variation black could do if black has this ladder is black could cut and then ladder this stone and sacrifice the corner. So this is actually a variation that's possible, and then what black would just capture, and then black would develop influence on this side. But white has a big territory, so this would only be good if probably black has some stones here to develop that influence actually. The last variation for this is just to hane in the corner, which I would argue is probably the more common one. And now black could either connect or play the tiger's mouth. If black connects, then white would play here or here and extend this stone. And generally this would end up in a fight. So black doesn't want to just simply live this group, so sometimes black would pincer or shoulder hit to put pressure on this group. The tiger's mouth is more defensive, meaning that in the corner locally it's pretty much an alive shape. And in this case, white would play much further. And the bad thing about this tiger's mouth is that white could push through. But again, this is one of the cases where even if white pushes through, it's still not good locally. So we have those two possibilities. The next thing I want to talk about is similar cases where actually when black pincers, there are some variations where when white plays the double approach, actually that black attaches on this side. So this would be a similar result when white hanes, black extends. And now, again, when white invades the corner, it's generally not good, because then after this variation, this is actually a very nice stone to actually keep putting pressure on the corner group. So then, the best move here for white is to attach. And then again, wedging is not good in this case, so black hanes, white connects, black connects. And because there's already a black stone here, it's better for white just to protect, and then black would finish off by capturing this stone. So this is another local result. The last variation that I will show you today is upon request, and it's very complicated, so keep that in mind. But in this part has related to a very specific opening where black starts out with the corner enclosure and white approaches inside here, and black does the two-space high pincer. This variation is especially complicated when white makes the double approach and after black attaches on this side. So keep in mind that if black attaches on this side, now white could invade in the corner, because in this variation, after black captures this one stone, you notice that this high pincer is now not in a very good position. So this would be one of the cases where white could choose this variation when black attaches on this side. So it's more common for black to attach here. When white hanes, black extends, then white attaches. Again, it's not very good to wedge now, but black could hane and then connect. So with this extra stone here, black is putting a lot more pressure on this group. And now white extends up. And then black plays this shoulder hit. So when white plays the tiger's mouth here, the normal variation is here. So this is actually almost a Joseki variation. But except in this case, you notice that black has stones that are developing towards the upper side. and white has just very well, almost perfectly limited that development. So in this case, white cannot get this exchange, and black would most certainly block on this side. And this is where the complication begins, is when white extends and turns. When black jumps, white attaches and wedges. Black ataris, white connects, and black connects. It is easy to miss some things, like a ladder, before you play joseki. So I will stress here that white absolutely has to have the ladder here. And the ladder I'm talking about is, if this case, in this case, black plays the kasumi, that white could atari and ladder this black outside group. So after the atari and atari, this ladder has to work for white. So since the ladder works, black has to hane and protect the center group from being laddered, and now white gets this vital point. So in the end, actually, black sacrifices. So after cutting atari and block, white ataris first to create that weakness, because later black might not want these 3 stones anymore. So after the atari, white comes back to capture the corner. So in this huge joseki, black maintains the outside and is free to develop a huge moil while white captures the corner. So keep in mind that white needed the ladder here, which is missed by many, and I've actually missed that in the recent Congress, so watch out for that. So here are the josekis for 3 to 4 dan players. If you have any questions about today's joseki problems, leave us a comment below and go to our website. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and don't forget to subscribe below. I am Ryan Lee. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.